to school on Monday. I have a quiz for you. I want you to raise your hand if you miss getting up and wearing your uniform, your school uniform, all day. Raise your hand. Oh, interesting. Now raise your hand if you're one of the students who does not miss getting up and putting your uniform on and you like doing school in your comfy clothes. Oh, interesting. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so now to math. We are starting a brand new thing that has a lot of old stuff in it. It's very applicable to your life, so you're going to want to learn this. Imagine yourself. You have money in your pocket, and you're going to the store, and you don't have a piece of paper. Ha! And you come across something that you really want, maybe a piece of bubble gum for 25 cents. And then you come across a really neat eraser that's 5 cents. And you want to add them together, but you don't have a piece of paper, and you're not really sure how to do anything unless you have a piece of paper, and you're stuck because you really want these things, but you don't want to get up to the cash register and put them on there and find out that, oh, if you had just added them in your head, you would know what the total was, and then you would know whether you had enough money. Well, as a real person in a real world that God made, you're going to have to do those kinds of things in your head. So we're going to practice doing those things in your head with no paper. And we're going to practice, and we're going to be wrong sometimes, and sometimes we're going to be right. But I'm going to give you some strategies today to do the things you've already been doing all year, but in your head. Let's figure out how to do that. We are going to learn to add 3-digit numbers mentally. Oh, that seems like it might be so hard, but it's really not, because you use all the same things that you already know. Imagine if I have this number, let's pick a fun color. How about this one? If our first number that we're going to add is just a single digit number adding to a 3-digit number. So let's say I have 347 and I want to add 8 to it. Well, I have a hundreds place, a tens place, and a ones place. Would you agree? Okay. And then I have a ones place. Well, my ones place and my ones place, I want to add together. And so I'm going to teach you how to just look at the place values that you have to add together. We're actually not going to start with this one. We're going to come back to this one, because I want to start with one where you just look at the ones place and it all works out magically happy. And then I'm going to come to one like this, where it doesn't all work out as magically happy, and show you what you do in your head and not on paper to figure it out. The first one I want to do to show you is I'm going to bring this one back later. So in order to bring it back later, we're going to make it go away, and I'm going to show you that that problem is going to be very easy by the time we're done here. Right now, I want to just show you that you can do, one of the first strategies that you can do is just add the ones. Simply add the ones. Like if we have this number, 472, and we add 5 to it, can I look at the ones place and see that I would not have to regroup, class? I would not have to regroup. A 5 ones and 2 ones, 5 plus 2 equals what, class? 7. That stays in the ones place. So I can just copy this whole thing over, 470, and 2 plus 5 is 7. That's not the only way to do this problem. Let me show you another way. You can also think of this problem as this separating out the ones and taking this and pulling out the ones. I have 470, right? And I've taken out that ones, and I'm going to have a plus a 2 number bond. And then over here, I have a 5 number bond. And I can add those together. 2 plus 5 equals what, class? We just said was 7. So this will be the same as having 470 plus 7. Well, what is 470 plus 7? 477. One of those ways is going to make more sense to you. Great. I don't need to know which one you use, but whichever one makes more sense to you, that's the one you're going to do moving forward. We know in math class that God doesn't give us just one way to find the answer in math. He often gives us several different ways as long as we get to that same answer on the paper. Let's try another one. Just adding the ones. Here it is. If I have 322 plus 7, my first question is, I have ones place. I have a ones place. If I add those two ones, do I end up having to regroup? 7 plus 2 is 9. That's not more than 10. So I can just add those together and put them in the ones place. I start with my hundreds, which isn't changed. 300. 20 is the same. But my 2 plus my 7 gives me 9. All I did was add the ones. I looked in the ones place and saw that I didn't need to regroup, and I simply do the addition. Could I have split this into 320 and a 2 number bond? Yes, I could. And then I would have 2 plus my 7, which would equal 9. And then I would have 320 plus 9, which would still equal 329. I did them in a completely different way in my head, but I still got to 329. Clever! You can do it either way. Let's look at one more. Hope you're feeling happy. My little happy guy's happy to see you. Oh. All right. Let's do 414 plus 5. Raise your hand when you have the answer. Okay, say it out loud. You're just going to add the ones. It's 400. That stays the same. My 10s stay the same because 4 plus 5 in my ones place simply equals 9. 419. If I wanted to pull it apart in number bonds, I could pull this one apart to be 410 and a 4. 410 plus 4 equals 414. And I could add this 4 to the 5. It would still be 410 plus 9, which equals 419. Both ways will work. All right. Now, that's lovely and happy and super simple. Would you agree? You pretty much have that. Not so hard when all the numbers equal less than 10 in the ones place. But that's not life. God does not give us that when we're shopping in the grocery store to figure out how much money we're going to need, or when we're counting up our Legos with our friends to figure out how many we have. Sometimes you have things that equal more than 10, like this one. 76 plus 9. Okay? Here's another technique, another strategy for solving this problem, and that is to try to get the number, if it's close to 10, get it to 10. Put it in a 10 number bond, and then add the 10s and subtract what's left over. That sounds complicated, but it's really not. Let me show you. 9, if I were to get that to a 10 block, 10 would be the 9 bonded to what number? 9 plus what gives me 10? Yes, 1, okay? So I have a 9 plus a 1 gives me 10. So what if instead of adding the 9, I just add the 10? Isn't it a whole lot easier to add 10 to a number? I think so. So what if we add 76 plus 10? Okay, let's try that. 76 plus 10 gives me what? 86. Well, that's easy. 76 plus 10 is 86. But I added 10 and I only was supposed to add 9. So I added 1 too many. So now I have to take off that 1 that I added because it was extra to make it easy. Let's take that 1 back off. And I end up with 86 minus 1 is 85. And so my answer is 85. Fancy that. Could I have done it a different way? Sure. Do you want to see? Let's try it another way. Another strategy for solving this same problem. If I were to add the ones, I would see that 6 plus 9, 6 plus 9 gives me 15. Gives me 15. So I know this is going to end up with more. So I put my 15. 6 plus 9 is 15. That gives me one extra 10. So I'm going to now have 7 plus 1 is 8. And there's my 5 of the 15. I still get 85. That's another strategy. Ooh, our brains are not going to explode. Hold them in, hold them in. Our next one is 38 plus 6. Ooh, that's kind of hard to do in my head, but I know what plus 10s are. If you add the 10s and separate out the rest, you're going to come to a faster way of doing mental math. So let's see. If I were going to turn this into a 10, because 10s are easier to add, 10, I have the 6. What other number am I going to need to make 10? 6 plus what gives me 10? Yeah, 4. Okay, so I'm going to add 10 to this number because it's a whole lot easier. So 38 plus 10 gives me what, class? 48. Well, that's wonderful and easy, but I didn't add 48. I only added 6. I didn't add 10. I only added 6, so I have to take out this extra 4. So 48 minus 4 gives me 8 minus 4. I leave my 10 alone. 8 minus 4 is 4, so I end up with 44. So all you're doing, if you're confused, what you're doing is you're rounding this up to a 10, making it easy to do the addition, and then pulling out the extra ghost numbers that you added. It's a way that a lot of people do mental math a lot faster than trying to think of 6 plus 8 is 14, and then the 4, and then the wah, and you get lost. It's a simple technique. All right, let's do one more. You see if you can do this one. 76 plus 9. If you were going to make the 9 a 10, what other number would you need? A 1. Okay, so we're going to make it a 10. We're going to add 10 instead because it's easier. 76 plus 10 equals, say it, 86. But we didn't add 10, we only added 9. So we have to take this extra 1 out that we boosted in there to help us. Minus 1 gives us 85. Did I just do that one a minute ago, or did I do the other one? Oh, I might have done the same one twice. Well, I hope you're really good at it now. All right, so here's a funny thing that happens. Let's try a couple more. You can do that same process of boosting it up to 10. You add 10, and then you subtract out the extra ones. You can do that when you have 3-digit numbers as well. It doesn't matter how big the number, you can still do the same thing. As long as you're looking in the ones place and there's only one thing you're adding, you're good to go. We'll talk about how that expands to other place values tomorrow. But here, you have 347 chickens. And you're gonna add 8 more chickens to your chicken coop. You better get a lot of happy neighbors around you because there's gonna be some squawking going on. 347 chickens plus 8 chickens. And you have to figure out how many chickens you're gonna have all together. Well, if I just look at my ones place, 7 plus 8, oh, that's gonna be more than 10. So let me go a different strategy. That's not the strategy to use here. And so I'm gonna take my 8 and I'm gonna say that's pretty close to 10. If I have an 8 up here, how many more am I gonna need to get to 10? 8, 9, 10. I need another 2 in my number bond. All right, great. So I'm gonna add 2 extras in there just to make it easy on myself with these chickens. So 347 plus 10 is what, class? 347 plus 10. We're adding those 10s. 347 plus 10 would be 357. But we didn't add 10. We only added 8. So we have to take this 2 out. Take the 2 back out because we put it in to just help us make it easy. So now we have a 7 minus a 2, which is 350. 7 minus 2 is 5. 355. If you really want to check the other way, you can think, is 7 plus 8 15? Well, that would be a 15. And a 4 and a 1 would be a 5 if we regrouped. Oh, are you seeing how that your paper math can be used to check your mental math? Ooh, isn't that fun? Okay, let's try another one. This is so exciting. You're not going to need paper anymore. And when I say, tell me how you got that, you're going to say, but Mrs. Lecce, you told me it was mental math and I wasn't supposed to use my paper. And I'll say, right. This is a fun time of math where you don't have to write down what your brain is doing because you're just doing it in your brain. 156 plus 7, let's see what it looks like. All right, get this to the closest 10. The closest 10 is 10. So we don't want to do chickens. Let's see, what should we do? 156 jelly beans. You have 156 jelly beans, and Mr. Lawrence only has 7. But if you put them together, how many are you going to have? So you have 156 jelly beans plus 7. 6 plus 7, oh, that's more than 10. So let's try to make this, doing it by our adding 10s section. So we're going to add 10, which means it's 7. This becomes 7 plus 3. All right, so we're going to add 10. 156 plus 10, this is what's happening in our head. 156 plus 10 is 166. But I added 3 extra, so I have to take them back out. 166 minus 3 gives us 100. 6 minus 3 is 3. Could we do that another way? Yes, there's always another way. Could we just add 7 plus 6? We could. 7 plus 6 is what, class? 13. So I'm going to put the 13 in the ones place. I'm going to give myself 3 place values. And I'm going to remember that we added an extra 10 over here for 13 in my head. And so that's going to become a 6. The 1 stays the same. Did we get the same answer? We did. You can do it either way. Doesn't matter as long as you come up with 163. Okay, one last one, and then I'm going to give you a game to play because games are inevitably the most fun in math. La, 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 la. Okay, we've done jelly beans and chickens. What else should we do? Oh, we have a lot of these. 243 freckles. 243 freckles, and then you spend a day in the sun and you get 9 more freckles. How many freckles do you have on your face? But don't use your paper. You have to use your noodle. This is your noodle. 243 plus 9. Well, you know that 9 plus 3 is going to give you regrouping situation. So you can use your strategy of adding 10 and then taking out the extra ones. So that 9 becomes a 10 in your head, which is a 9 and a 1. So let's add the 10. 243 plus 10 gives you 253, but you added too many. So 253 minus this 1 would be 252. I didn't write it down. Hope you were tracking what was going in my head. Yours as well. Let's double check ourselves the other way. 9 plus 3 is 12, so we should have a 2 in the ones place. The 4 now has a 12 above it, so I have a 10 extra 10, so that's going to become a 5. And the 2 becomes a 2. Check. Nice. That's exciting. You're going to get to practice with a game. So, time to play a game. Not with me, but with your mom and dad, or mom or dad, or somebody fun in your life. Where did my dice go? Here it is. Here's what you're gonna need for the game. First, you're gonna open up to your textbook on page 9. I'm gonna put that here in red. Text, book, page 9. And you're gonna need 1 die to roll. You can snag it out of a game you have at home. Doesn't matter, be sure and put it back when you're done, or your siblings are gonna rant and rave when they don't have a die to play their game. But take it out for a few minutes. You're gonna be rolling this. You're gonna need 4 cards. You're gonna need a card that says 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can put them on just a random piece of paper, a sticky note, an index card, it doesn't really matter. The directions for the game are in your textbook on page 9. Play the game for at least 8 to 10 minutes, just to practice all the different ways, and mentally you're gonna be adding these numbers to a 2-digit number. It's really fun. Enjoy. You're gonna need this practice in order to move forward in this lesson of mental math. All right, have a great time playing your game. See you tomorrow.